It's my pleasure to ask Aidan Sinnell to come up to the podium.
All right, hi everyone. I'm Aidan Sinnell. I'm one of the two third and final year students finishing up at the farm. I would like to thank you all for coming. It's an honor to have completed the adolescent program here at MSGH and be speaking to you now. I would also like to thank my parents for putting me through this program, and of course, my wonderful teachers. Karen, Steve, and Jack have been, in all honesty, the best teachers that I have ever had. They've all helped to establish the comfortable, safe environment known as the farm. My teachers have always been thoughtful and caring, and that I've always felt that someone cared about what happened to me, or how I did on a test, or about what I accomplished. But the wonders of the farm don't just stop there. The makings of our maple syrup, grape jelly, and other goods are incredible things that I won't be exposed to anymore, as well as the engaging classes and intriguing experiences. Something that really stands out to me over the course of my time here have been the bees. At first, I was absolutely terrified of them. We had a class on them when I was in 7th grade, my first year at the farm, and this didn't help because every time I was shown a picture of the external anatomy of a bee, my eyes always drifted to the stinger at the end of the abdomen. So yeah, I was always terrified of being stung, and so when I was asked if I wanted to go into their home, their hive, I was a little nervous, but I went in anyway. I took little comfort in anything, even though I was in a protective bee suit. But I actually enjoyed my visit to the hive. I saw the queen, the bee larva, and of course the golden, rich, flowing honey. But our bees died that year, and we didn't get to extract any of it. So my second year there, I was more confident with the bees. I went in to the hive when it came to it without a worry, and I learned even more than I did in the previous year. But I guess with all good things comes a bad, because my fears came true. I was standing about 8 feet away from the I was standing about 8 feet away from the hive one day. I was watching some of my fellow classmates go into the hive, and I was a little nervous at first, standing there with bees everywhere. But after about 3 minutes of no serious encounters with the bees, I felt safe. But of course, as soon as this feeling of safety came over me, a bee landed on my head, and all I could tell myself was, if you just don't move and don't make any attempt to swat at it, you'll be fine. Yeah, this isn't true. At least with me, because then it started to burrow its way into my hair, and then it proceeded to sting me, and so instantly I felt the pain, and so I ran my hand violently through my hair to get the thing away from me. Then I sprinted inside to Steve, who, with a credit card, flicked the stinger and the venom sac out of my head, which was probably, as we have learned this year, which is probably still pumping venom into my scalp. So that's a good thought. So I had a headache for the rest of the day, obviously. It hurt. And again, our bees died that year, and and again, we didn't get to extract any of the honey. So this past year has been the most enjoyable, at least in terms of the bees. We had a dedicated occupations class about them, and I alone studied bee perception, memory, and association of objects, because I had a class on bees 2 years before. We also have a new beekeeper this year, and she is much better than the older one, answering all of our questions knowledgeably and thoughtfully when we in groups of 3s or 4s, explore the hive with her. But the big plus of this year is that our 2 hives are strong and healthy, which means that we'll probably be able to extract honey, finally. So I bring up the bees because I feel that they're a very good representation of what the farm is to me. An enjoyable educational experience with moments of fear and then triumph, with a feeling of success after every accomplishment. This is strengthened by the feeling of being part of the community and participating in the activities offered to you alongside your peers. I've really enjoyed my time at the farm. The full 3 years gave me plenty of time to connect with the environment and the community. Once again, I'd like to thank Karen, Steve, and Jack for making the farm such a wonderful place and such a comfortable learning environment. Karen has always been supportive of me, being a great help in my application and placement at Taft, where I'll be attending my next 4 years of high school. Steve is a wonderful mentor and friend, always having advice, although sometimes questionable, to give. Jack, in my opinion, has made math fun again, being very interactive and engaging during his lessons, and always making you give him a courteous laugh after one of his terrible jokes. I'd like to thank you all for making these past 3 years the best school experience I've had so far. Thank you.
Atara Harari.
Hi, thank you so much for being here, and good morning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Atara Harari. 2 years ago, I was at another school in which I was miserable at, yet I didn't want to leave. And here I must remind you all a little aphorism. Humans are very resistant to change. As the date approached to the first day at my farm, I promised my parents that I'd be not going back at some point to my old school. But by the end of the first week, I came to the realization on the bus ride back from the farm to the main campus that everyone was laughing and having a great time. As a result, it did not take me long to conclude that the transition to my new Montessori school was the best decision my parents had ever forced on me. Aside from the social atmosphere being warm and accepting from the first day I got there, the academic environment was stimulating and challenging. Of course, a large reason of why the academics were as exemplary as they were was due to the exceptional quality of the teachers. You may be wondering what makes them so special. I believe a large part of it is due to their Montessori approach. They don't just look at your grades and give you tests like in a normal school. They really find out who you are, how you learn, and what motivates you to do your best. But to say it's only their Montessori approach would be taking away from the personal commitment and talents of my 3 wonderful mentors and teachers. I cannot thank enough, in no particular order of merit or skills, Karen Ross, Stephen Ligon, and Jack McCardle for their wonderful education that they gave me over the last 2 years. They also helped me discover aspects of myself that I never knew existed. For example, I was uninspired for many years in playing piano and did not progress well to the point where I had given up. However, within my first year at the farm, my musical interests and talents accelerated to the point where I picked back up the piano and 2 new additional instruments along the way. As a result, music has become a huge part of my life. It is a vehicle for me to express myself, and it is my creative outlet. This is just another example of how Montessori allows you to discover avenues to express yourself in the most meaningful way possible. One of the beauties of Montessori education is life skills and acquisitions. Unlike most of my new peers at the farm, I never had the benefit of being taught at school how to become an independent individual. 2 ways that I had developed my independence was through projects and being one of the 2 barn managers. Now I bet you're all wondering what I'm talking about. Projects is a time of the day where a student works on or thinks of a project to accomplish. These projects can range from something as small as fixing something in the barn to something as large as creating a new product for the business that we run at the farm. It is through the business that we generate more money for more projects, just like in life. And it is through the projects that we learn how to create realistic goals and come up with plans on how to achieve them. The school isn't a working farm. We have goats, sheep, chicken, and a cat, bees, and a garden that grows an array of fresh produce. Even though we are all learning independence on the farm, to properly care for and raise livestock, we must work cooperatively with each other to get the job done well. This year, in order to teach leadership skills, we have instituted the role of barn manager. This role has taught myself and my fellow ninth year the leadership skills that will carry us through more challenging leadership tasks in the future. Though I have great anticipation for the chapters of my new life, I am already looking back wistfully on the wonderful memories that I have shared with all of my friends at the farm. I recall fondly our spontaneous hikes through the forests, glens, and hills of New Hartford. I can still smell the sweet aroma that filled the air of our barn as our golden maple syrup boiled. The chaos of herding the goats back from the creek will still make me chuckle to myself. And I don't think I will ever lose the wonder of witnessing the birth of a new goat. I will miss the intimate warmth and friendship and genuine fellowship that I experienced around the campfire at our overnight camping trip to Chewonki, or the late-night girl gossip sessions at the overnight Boston trip. As the saying goes, ars longa vita brevis, which means art is long and life is short. I want to thank all of those who have brought me to this day and have prepared me for the years to come. Thank you.